So you're secret over on couch number 2. Couch number 1, Winter. Take a moment to talk about it.
I trust my roommate.
So you're just saying I decided I think secret. I did say CDEC going into the series, but I just don't think their drafts in this game and the previous one have been good enough.
Alright, well, we'll find out. It looks like we are live, so the commentators will take you from here on in. It's Secret versus CDEC for the first series. This is the final game to decide who will win.
Okay, guys, indeed, Game 3 between CDEC and Secret, and what a series it has been so far. And what are you seeing, Andy, already? What's going on?
I let die with a smoke break. That was actually so nice.
Really fun. And we were talking about this in the draft. Q on the Disruptor. That's the answer to what Secret were pulling out in Game 2 with the Tide and the Enigma.
It's really good if you can keep out the Tide. Like, most of the time, the way that Secret want to take team fights, they want to be very compact. They want to fight around Black Hole and Ravage. Obviously, they have the Spectre Haunt to follow that up. Disruptor is one of the few heroes in the game who can just stop a Tide from casting while he's taking damage, because Static Storm is an area of effect debuff that's basically applied to you every second, or like however many seconds it lasts, which means that if he gets caught inside of the kinetic field in a Static Storm, he can be killed before he ults, which is a really nice thing to have. It also helps secure the laning phase, gives him pretty good roam actually. Disruptor and Lena together, like if the Disruptor roams for mid, then you can very easily get a kill with that as well. Thunderstrike, Glimpse, Cage, probably a dead hero. Same thing can be said with the Night Stalker and the Disruptor roaming around together. And plus, the vision that you gain with Night Stalker and the Disruptor during nighttime has great synergy, because Night Stalker has ridiculous vision once he gets Eggs.
And of course, Envy bringing out the Spectre this match. We were talking about potential position 1s heroes for the guy this game, and Spectre's not necessarily one that we came up with. Why do you feel Secrets felt that this is a game for a Spec?
Well, I think Winter said it. They're just doing everything based around the team fight potential. I was thinking more along the lines they might go like a Sven or a Lycan just to give them even more push to allow themselves to just go high ground sooner. But if you're winning the game...
Oh, is that... Look at that.
Oh, that is painful. As far as the safe lane hero for this game goes, I think that Spectre is more than okay. It's not that I don't think it's a bad pick. It's just a different mentality. Instead of going for the win, you're guaranteeing that if your lineup functions well during the first 20 to 25 minutes of the game, you're going to be so far ahead that a Spectre is going to seem terrifying to ever try to fight into. And those supports, like the support Disruptor, for example, and even a core Lena, actually have a pretty hard time dealing with late game Spectre because the hero's just in your face all the time. You taunt and it becomes very annoying for you.
And the lanes, we're seeing them kind of switch around each game. A lot of kind of aggressive tri lanes and such coming out in each game 1 and game 2. And now in game 3, we're seeing a bit more Orthodox Misery is going to have to deal with this tri lane here on the top lane. Now, of course, on the Tide. And one thing that we really mentioned ourselves was in game 2, we were talking about probably with the Black Holes, but a lot of it was indeed down to Misery's Ravage. He had quite a game in game 2 on the Tide Hunter. I'm interested to see if they can go for a repeat performance this game. And we already mentioned the Disruptor way of dealing with it. You feel that CDEC with their draft and their lineup, they do just have a better overall way of dealing with the playstyle that Secret went for in game 2?
Certainly better than last game. Yeah, the Weaver and the Razor just did nothing during that game. At a laning phase, like 10 minutes in, heroes just don't have enough farms. Like, the Weaver needed another item on top of his Lincolns, which could be anywhere from like 3,500 for a Deso to, you know, whatever he would want to go.
Misery! Oh no! God, I might just catch him out here. Misery was going for a bit of a cheeky farm there on the sideball, but oh no, pays with first blood to the Night Stalker. That's got to be painful there. Just a little bit unfortunate. God, I could them out.
That's very nice. He realizes that this lane is much harder for the Tide than the previous lane. Like, even though it was Razor versus Tide, Misery ended up doing very well in that matchup, but this time around it's not going to be so easy for him. And this is one of the things, too, that you can do to punish an Enigma. Like, last game, I really felt the Enigma was one of the saving graces along with Misery's Tide, as you said, but you can actually do things to punish the Greed this time around, which is probably the biggest difference between the two drafts. In the previous game, they were just sitting in the lane. They had the Enchantress up there, like Q was just killing Envy over and over, but killing Envy didn't matter. It was more about just stopping the offlaner and the jungler from getting complete and total free farm, but this time they're going to be able to punish a little bit harder.
Of course, aggressive this time on the Clinks. We saw Envy's Clinks in game 2. Didn't have a great start, made a great recovery though. This time aggressive is getting more than enough space. So we're going to see the power of the Clinks with a good start straight off the bat. as you said, yeah, the lane's being kind of compromised because of this Enigma, but at the same time, if you're ever going to compromise your lanes for Enigma, I think you'd be quite happy to do it for a Puppy Enigma.
Yeah, he's probably... Is there any Enigma better than Puppy? I don't know if there is, because he's pretty much the guy who's played this hero since God knows when. Even back in Dota 1, this was a hero that he was known for, so... He knows the hero in and out, and I'm assuming he realizes he's getting leeched from Rhea, so he's not going to go up that ramp, he's going to send that conversions first. But, you know, Gardner, he's just doing his thing. He's pretty much acting like a bounty hunter here.
Well, I should come in and look for control. They have got, of course, Puppy's going around for this one. Oh, they're trying to buy some space and time. Talking about time, dilation comes out from XZ. Going to stop the line from being able to control either of them anymore. So Puppy, they did move over, and it get in time to follow up. Giving Envy a bit of space down at the bottom, 19 to 4 at the moment on this Spectre. XZ not being too much of an issue for him, but at the same time, XZ is getting a decent amount of last hits on the offlane void, of course.
And just these little rotations, like forcing reactions out of the supports, making Puppy stop farming. Keep in mind, at this time last game, Puppy was pretty much almost level 6, right? Like, he's level 4 right now. He had an extremely uninterrupted jump in the last match. He only went to get, I think it was 1 bounty rune, and then he, like, auto-attacked a couple of times onto Q's Enchantress, and he went back. So, he's already a little bit behind where he probably wants to be. And with that in mind, it means that the 5-man's not going to be as strong. High, getting chased here. I don't think that Garter can go for this. It's way too deep.
I mean, talking about the Puppy Enigma, we were already with the warding. CDEC just putting a lot more emphasis this game on just trying to control, keep tabs on the Enigma in his jungle. Because they really realise it can be a huge threat for them. But the Misery House is doing in levels. He has managed to start to find a fair bit of XP. He's now level 4 on the Tide. We saw him have a pretty tough time up here at the beginning. He's finding some stuff, and of course, with that, Talon, he can back off and still find that off mid lane. There is a bit of a wrap around here. They're trying to catch out Weak, but he's Ghost Warp. Puppy's there as well to help poor Sheik back. It's going to be fun with the haste.
It's actually quite surprising they didn't have Dust. Like, Garter has 500 gold right now. He could have easily had Dust on him, and I think they would have killed him. Because there was Laguna. Yeah, he definitely dead right now. A little bit of a misplay here from CDEC. Did he just trade for the... Nope, he didn't. Alright, so... not the most successful rotation. Very weird, actually, that CDC came to that gank not prepared.
Radiant's top tower is under
now starting to get a bit of damage onto this tier 1 top. As he will continue to push in. Misery has had to go back to base himself, still sitting on that level 4, so I think the key ults really on the Enigma and the Tide, of course, aren't going to be coming out at the same speed as in game 2. But nonetheless, we know what Secret can and will hope to do with them. So at this point of the game, the farm still, Spectre, and be on the bottom lane. He is level 6 now, so he can jump into the fights if they do kick off. And I guess in terms of pick-up potential, they are waiting on these ults pretty much from all of the 3 heroes, the Enigma, the Tident, and the Lion, before we can kind of expect to see them go for any action that Envy can kind of hop into to get himself involved in the kill.
It's going to be really nice because with the teamfight utility that they have, normally Spectre comes to teamfights anyway. That guy is probably on at that.
Blue drive by there from Shiki. Laguna blades straight down onto the little Lion. And Envy, he's straight into the trees with the Spectral Dagger.
Yeah, I think he's going to want to stay there for a little while.
Especially with actually hitting level 6 with the next creep, so we'll have that Chrono as well. So Envy needs to be very careful here at the moment. He's all on his own. He's going to come back out now. The pings coming through as we start to see CDC head themselves towards the mid lane. Maybe going to try again for a bit of action onto Wii. Garda does have the Dust this time round.
The thing about those types of ganks is when you mess up a gank like that on Invoker, like say Wii dies, you know, that's a big kill that you just didn't get because you didn't buy Dust, and there was no reason not to have it because you had the money. So maybe that opportunity doesn't present itself again. Like right now, Wii's not going to get ganked; he's just going back. That's a little bit concerning, but CDC making more rotations here, going towards bottom. Ward's going to spot him out though, and he knows what's going down here.
They really want to try and find Envy, but as you said, they know, and CDC know as well. The pings came out. They know that Envy's got the vision. They're going to try and find him there. The kinetic field, but it's not going to be the case. Envy's going to be lucky once again, keeping himself alive, playing it very safely. Envy, top lane, aggressive, the cover of the skeleton walk. It's going to be the level 6 now on to Misery with the next creep wave. This could be when we start to see the game begin to pick up, and Secret maybe looking to try and find some action. In fact, action could be found against them as Garda comes in. Aggressive now reveals himself to Misery. He's got a horn, and there's your Ravage. He's hit the level 6 just in time, and there's your turnaround. He has spike onto Garda. Secret catching out CDEC when they were the ones looking for the initiation. Great response there with the horn. A Ravage coming online at just the right time.
When we talk about preparation, Envy even has dust on him. Like, he knew that they were going to be trying to go for team fights, and as long as the Ravage comes out and you have Haunt available, your carry is going to be at every single team fight. The synergy behind this is actually way better than even I thought at the very beginning when I saw it first picked. I was like, oh, it's pretty good. But after seeing it in action, you can see here, like, even with the Sunstrike being thrown out, there's just no reaction that's going to be fast enough to stop that. They wanted to go for a kill, they ended up getting 2 wiped off the map in a matter of seconds, so I think you're going to be feeling pretty good about that one. And the other thing about their lineup is because they do have Enigma, Roshan is always going to be quite easy. That happens maybe 1 or 2 more times, you start losing powers and...
Look at the Chrono, he will manage to clip Envy, but here comes the TP pursuit. It doesn't look like it's going to be here in time. Well, no, maybe it is! Envy! Is he going to go to Evil? Aggressive gets the final touch in. We'll take him down, and now looking to dive into the Twilight Dive. There'll be another TP coming through. Look at the Hex out onto Aggressive. He's got to back himself out away to the path. Twilight Dive goes to the watch round. Now we turns up. XE losing mana parts. Will be able to get himself out and away in time before Weehard can catch him out here. Still CDEC, they want to try and fight. Moving in with Aggressive, Garda and the boys. XE salving up, going into the dive, looking for Twilight Dive. Weehard's going to hide in the sidelines. They'll get the kill on the line. Weehard's still hiding. Now Misery's coming through. Garda's still trying to find Wee. He's hiding in a tree. Just got him out of will. They'll throw out a Chaos Meteor, but it doesn't matter. Weehard on his own. He goes down as well. And fantastic aggressive has been forced out there from the side of CDC, just ready to stand by that tower. They knew that whatever Secret threw in, they didn't have the Ravage, they didn't have the Horn, and that was the best time for CDC to look for a fight.
I would actually like to know if Puppy showed himself on the map beforehand. I think he did, actually. And maybe they just saw the fact that he didn't have a teleport scroll and they just wanted to go for the dive, because this was very, very aggressive for DST. And as you said, they knew that there was no Ravage on a cooldown. It's not really a hard dive to make when you know that those 2 spells, very long cooldowns, are not going to be available, but also realizing that Puppy probably couldn't come to the team fight either just means that for CDEC, that was a very easy decision to make.
And the fact that, of course, they had the Disruptor there, they knew that they could send someone back to base, and of course, we saw it was, at the time, they just sent Misery straight back. I think even if they kind of kept him there, they could probably maybe even down the kill on that as well, because he didn't have the Ravage. But making the job a little bit easier, and trying to make sure that they got a big kill on Weehard and Boca. I imagine he did manage to pick up the Midas before, and down and managed to use it because he was very close to having that goal. So if that kill on him came a little bit earlier, that could have been a lot more painful for Secret. EDC now leading the game 5-2, and it's all going to be down to Puppy. Game 1 we saw a little bit of a rocky start being turned around by the big black hole contribution from Puppy. Let's see if he's going to be able to do it again this game. He's been focusing on farming ranges for the time being.
This game's going to be a bit different too, because CDC actually have a tremendous amount of damage, where it felt like last game they were kind of lacking the damage output in some categories. Like Weaver doesn't really do that much because it needs a lot of items, and Razor's kind of the same because he needs time for static things to really start dealing damage for him. Bottom lane, Pi.
Going in, Chrono straight up, online. The Ravage will come through. It's only going to catch out Aggressive, but that's the big kill. They'll take the Clinks in return. And I get they'll be happy with that one. They did cost them the Ravage, but that's a kill on your Clinks.
That is definitely a worth. And that means that Envy's going to secure his urn now too. He's going to continue to look to fight. As long as they have one ultimate off cooldown, regardless of whether it's Black Hole or Ravage, I think they're going to continually be looking for pressure here.
Puppy, straight up caught out there by Cheeky, but they're looking quite the first to deal with Puppy. Now he turns around. That was smooth. Backs off. There's no got this one, guys. Juke getting his back onto the adoption static from Cheeky. He just double damage, just ripping through Secret. He's got himself a double kill. It could be Axe Smash, could be on support back. Really some of the damage. The finger coming out to Garda. Garda can get back behind on Puppy with the Iron Lungs. He'll get the kill. It's a 2-for-2. Misery heal fall as well, though. Triple kill for Cheeky. That double damage pretty much making the fight for CDEC, but Secret was goes down without one, takes 2 in return.
That Blizzard didn't even pick up the regen. That actually makes it so much worse. Like, it sounds like a small thing, so we'll get a chance to watch it one more time. Like, Puppy, it looks like he's walking too far away, right? But I didn't see he had Ether Land in his inventory, so I was like, wait, why is he walking away? But all things considered, CDC is going to be quite happy with this turn of events. And the fact that Shiki doesn't even have to go back to base. Like, he's up to 1,700 gold now for that engagement. I assume he's just going straight for the Yules. Yeah, he's got the Staff of Wizardry in his inventory. This also opens up a really big opportunity for CDEC to go Roche. Like, all tier 1s are dead, This is the point in the game where Secret now have to try to make some kind of counterplay. They have Ravage up in about a minute, and I think Haunt is a little bit less than that yet, about 30 seconds cooldown difference, so they have a little bit of a window here. They want to go for this Roshan. They got a little bit of time, and I think Secret, like, they almost have to contest this, right? Like, they can maybe counterpush tier 1 mid, but giving them this kind of advantage this early, when you have the advantage in team fight and you're losing team fights against a team who has better rotations, better way of controlling the map once they are ahead, which definitely are, they're against Night Stalker, you're against Flanks with Disruptor as well. So you can get picked so easily.
It looks like CDEC are going to get away with this.
They're not going to go.
Yeah, they're going to be very happy with this. They do lose the tier 1 mid, but trade that CDEC will be more than happy to take. And he's going to go the way of Aggressive, and of course now with that he should be very close to Desolator. Yeah, he's just about 300 gold away from picking up the Desolator as well here on the Clinks.
The big question is, what do Secret want to do? Is this just a warding smoke, or are they actually looking for a fight? They do have everything up, pretty much. The only thing they're missing is Finger, and to be honest, if they land their ultimates properly, Finger is probably not the most important spell to worry about. Because a Meteor from Wii will like clean up everyone inside of the Ravage of the Black Hole at this point. And they're just waiting things out here, and he's going to show, and he just blatantly broke smoke, so I don't think they're looking to fight. They just want to try to get something here.
Well, CDEC did also go for that smoke, as we saw in Secret's jungle. Both teams supporting each other. It's going to be the space for Secret to take this tier 1 top, but the trade is going to be looked for by CDEC. They'll look for the tier 2 in the mid lane. Still see some TPs coming back. It's 3 Puppy leading the way. We'll see if they can find any way to stop this push. Any forward of the illusion. And to catch out what Secret are looking for in terms of a jump in. Misery. Another thing that we can sneak out right now in the courier. Oh no, good jump, sorry. Jump back to make sure that we can see a course from last week. We don't have to this yet. When the ball's coming in, then we will pop it. CDEC straight away beginning to scatter. They'll put the Spectral Dagger onto Geeky. Players one careful. He has his side up. He's still got that. Reload. He can get himself up just in time. Got a falling low, but can they get a corner like the Wizard? But his first touch, the XC. Looking to go on to 3. Griffin trying to get a damage up. The Ravage is there from the 3. XC's going to fall as well. Shoot out on CDEC. They've got the Ghost. Hex onto Aggressive. The Finger's there. Clicks tried to run, trying to hide. He'll go down. That's the Aegis pop. Can see him for a second time. Hang around to get consistent, but it's not mechanic. He gets on a lovely light side, will bring down Puppy, but they lose Aggressive on Clinks. So a 3 for 1, including the Aegis being taken out of the hands of the Clinks. Big fight there for Secret. And well, they didn't even need to use the Black Hole.
The coordination there from CDEC wasn't really on point. Like, the fight was very split up at the start, and we'll get an opportunity to actually watch it. But if you watch what XC does after they start walking up to the side here, like, they're all chasing onto the Lina, and then they try to go for a spear where basically there's no follow-up damage. Like, he hits people behind the tower. And all in all, it didn't really work out for them. No one was there to actually deal any damage, and the Static Storm was also dropped in such a defensive way that they didn't even have that when the spear came out. So he throws out a spear, auto-attacks like 2 or 3 times with his Vlad's in his inventory, and he's like, oh, I don't do any damage on my own, I actually need my team. At that point, it's already over. Secret's just a little bit too strong there in that engagement. And he is closing in on his Guardian Greaves as well. He's got the Mech and Arcanes already finished. And once that happens, I'd actually say that the Secret are going to be feeling pretty good. Like, that Roshan was supposed to cure CDEC map control for quite a long time. When you're playing with Night Stalker, and you have the advantage, and also it's going to be nighttime in a couple of minutes, you have full map control. Secret felt incredibly scared to try to do anything there, but as soon as they see the team spread out, it's just immediately in their favor.
Over to smoke time on the side of Secret. Big Puppy, he said we're 17 minutes into the game. I haven't had a chance to really get up a big one here with the Black Hole, and he wants to use it. Lead in here at the moment from Mystery Paladin. We are. Looks like they're point guard into the jungle, and they'll go for the pick off straight in. Oh, wait for the bad at that one. DNS, and off the back of that, they'll look for a push themselves in the mid lane. Lost the tier 2 about a minute or so ago, and this time they're going to try and take the tier 2 back. As we can see, big ults coming back off cooldown here from both sides. Griffin and CDEC really try and do anything about this. They've got the Static Storm, 15 seconds without the Night Stalker. But eyeing this one up, it's going to be a hefty push to try and stop Shiki moving forward. Got the 6 sidelines out. XE on the back lines with Aggressive. Secret, I think they're aware that something's going on and they're playing this safe. They just send the minions in to push, and they themselves, keeping themselves away from any kind of danger that CDEC might throw them in defense.
It's a little bit scary right now because they don't actually know how close the Void is to Blink. The XC is at 1500, so he could have Blink anywhere from now in the next, 3 to 5 minutes, give or take, depending on how quickly he farms. Once he gets that, I think that taking a team fight is going to be way easier, because as soon as you get that Blink Sphere, you allow the Static Storm to come in almost every single time. And you can even overlap if you want. If you know you're going to get the kills, you just drop it on Misery or Puppy and you can get those kills. And unlike the previous games where we saw that there were heroes who have saves, like when he had the Dazzle before and the OD, this game has no saves for those heroes. So you get a Sphere into a Static Storm, they should die pretty much every single time.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Top lane. Like it's just going to be a bit of a trade here once again. Secret on the tier 2 top. You're already ready with TP back.
Dire's top
In the tier 2 here on the bottom. Can they do anything here in time? Misery moving forward. Looks like they may think about fighting. They've got all the ultimates, but at the same time, so does CDEC. Being kept back here and guarded now with some of the night time. XE moving forward to the center one. Into Chrono. Onto Brand the backline. They close it onto Puppy. Bring down the Enigma. They found Misery as well. It's like just through down before they get the ultra. Envy started, but it's the third kill there for CDEC. And XE there with the big Chronos when his team needs it. And that is the kind of stuff that turns the game on its head.
Has this guy actually hit less than 3 heroes for Chrono Trigger? Like, in this entire series? I mean, I know he's played it every single game, but it really feels like he always hits, the perfect Sphere exactly when they need it. And the coordination there was sick, and he didn't even have points. He did that without the
Fly back on Misery. Secret. They're going to try and force this fight here. They're going to eventually use Pilot Dice, falling low. CDEC moving forward. They want to try and pick up the line. Look at the damage from Aggressive ripping through Wii. Only just able to survive. Misery coming in again. Going in a moment. He is going to be back on the pitch now here on the Enigma. Misery moving forward. He wants to find the rabbit. He's going to find a Garda. Trying to TP out straight in front of the Tidehunter. He'll catch the TP on the Nightstorm. But he's real stuff on the Misery. Empty now coming in. So he's straight for Garda with the Spectre Dagger. Look at the Nightstorm. He kill. Will find it. They'll be able to get aggressive here as well. But looks to be, yes, they've got the dust. They'll get that one too. 2 heroes down on CDEC. Did cost the buyback there on the Tidehunter. The basic defender.
I think it was worth it. I think maybe if Eddie was a little bit faster, he might have been able to get an extra kill as well, because his haunt was still going for, I think, 1 more second, and he might have been able to chase down the Void, who is currently jungling right now, because he didn't have mana for a time walk. But at the beginning of this fight, you see the Static Storm. Look at that Chrono. How incredible that Chrono was. 3 heroes, couple on the edge. It puts Envy in such a bad position as well that there's just no way that Seeker can take that fight anymore. As soon as your carry's dead, you have no Ravage. There's no salvaging that, just game. But you can see that they defend pretty much only because they have Glyph, and the Ravage ends up equalizing an otherwise pretty bad fight. But all in all, I would say that CDEC dealt a pretty good amount of damage there.
Well, actually, so very nearly got the chance to Void as well. The Sunstruck just a little bit off the point there from Weeha. But nonetheless, I mean, Game 3, I kind of expected it after seeing both teams have a pretty strong, stellar performance, respectively. Game 1, of course, was CDEC, and Game 2 from Secret. Game 3 so far. It's going to be a close one.
Yeah, this is the kind of stuff that you want to see, though, right? The first game was a little bit stompy, I'll admit, but I think it was a little bit of a draft issue. And then the next game, it's kind of like the other way. One team does pretty well, and now it's just an even game. This is like the dream best of 3 series, right?
Absolutely. And so some big items are coming out, as we can see. Aggressive. He is going to have that BKB pretty shortly ready for the next fight. Now on the Night Stalker, Agonyms is just only about 1,000 gold away for Garden. You talked about it earlier, just the synergy of having that vision to disrupt. The catch-out potential is going to be huge. Even just things like sending back heroes that are looking for that initiation with the big ultimates like Puppy's Enigma, like Misery's Tide. Talking about Puppy on the Enigma, that's your Guardian Greaves done. Ready for the next fight as well.
It's a really big item for him, mainly because you can just fight well. So if the Soccer Emperor throws a silence on you, you can just pop it off. Obviously, being able to save teammates would be nice too. It's not really super useful at this stage in the game in terms of dealing with burst, because Shiki has Agonyms. So level 2 Laguna Blade, 650 pure, plus the rest of the damage that Aggressive and everyone can do. Kind of not really lost all of its potency, but the spell is very nice. And Grit, they're looking for an opportunity here. Woke up, they got the Yules combo. We actually, as for interesting spells loaded here.
Oh, Exy is in. He's in the road. He's going to want to get out, and he will. He'll pop the horn and get the big MP jumping straight forward with the Spectre Dagger. The Gush will be thrown out, but Exy time walks himself away.
This is a rush. I think CDEC want to go. They go really fast, they might be able to catch it, but they have to be very decisive. They were kind of walking around for a few seconds.
Yeah, they've got to get themselves over there quickly, as you said. They know that Horn's down. The rest of the ult's still up for the side of Secret, and Secret themselves, they know that CDC don't want to look for this one. They're not going to fully commit to the roast at the moment. They're hanging out at the side, scanning out themselves. But now see Forge Spirit, the CDC are jumping in. Looks like CDC are going to essentially try and start to go for it themselves.
Yeah, they can go for this
Black
easy.
Hole and Rabbit are there. CDC have to be careful with their positioning. 3 are in the pit at the moment. The Misery's just going to go straight in. Gets off the Ravage. Fuse will be bursted down. The Stan's somebody pops up, but he can't find the Black Hole. They find them looking on slime, but it's a double kill for Rehab. This fight going pretty well for the side of Secret so far. Aggressive from the BKB, but it's down to Andy. It's not going to be enough, and there's the Black Hole. Coffee saves himself, takes down 2, bringing in XP, bringing in aggression. 4 dead on CDC, and Secret returns to the pit to clean up Roche and grab themselves the edge.
That was very nicely done. Like, they just split them apart again. It seems like every single time they go into a team fight and they're not all coordinated, it's just a disaster. Like in the beginning of this fight, Ravage comes through, then you pretty much just lose a hero straight away. You have to drop Static Storm in a very suboptimal way. And the Laguna was used as a lion. He ends up trading his own life like a lion for a lean at this stage when that was a wicked 6-week from Shiki.
Look at it, they just trying to keep and the just at the time, coming out, keeping Puppy alive, and hits off that Black Dog. We may not have seen as many this game as we saw in Game 2, and arguably this one is a harder matchup considering the heroes that CDC has got, but still Puppy manages to bring out the big guns just when it's needed.
Difference in initiation, really. That's what it boils down to. The contrast between the fight and that pit and how it opened by just it being a Ravage instead of getting jumped on by a Spear and a Disruptor ulti, that's going to be how the dynamic goes in an actual team fight. Now, if CDEC get their fight going and actually get ahead and can hold map control with the Night Stalker, then the way the game is played changes a little bit. But as long as it's just brawl 5 versus 5, Secret are going to have the advantage as long as they don't get caught out by that like gigantic Spear that XD's been throwing out.
In terms of kind of items now for CDC, still that, I mean, even with the BKB, Aggressive was, once the other teammates are down, he just can't do enough on his own. He does need to have someone go in and get the catch. And I think the one thing that you keep touching on about, and I think it's very relevant to the fact that they can't seem to find it, is the fact that these Static Storms, each and every time, they're having to be thrown out defensively. We've not seen the Disruptor really find a huge catch.
This kid was just Misery bottom. That was the only time. Because he got a glimpse into a Static Storm that ended up resulting in him having to buy back. That was when they were defending bottom. But outside of that, yeah, it's tough. I mean, when you smoke up as a Secret, or you want to try to reinitiate and the enemy team doesn't have proper vision, one good ultimate like a Ravage or a Black Wolf be able to fight, just right away. You just don't have a chance to do anything after that, and the damage is pretty much already dealt. So in these types of high stress situations, it's usually better to try to go for the jump as long as you know who you're going for first. And like Secret want to continue this trend, they're gonna smoke up, go into the enemy woods, maybe some warding gonna happen here. Probably only has sentries on him right now, so.
Oh, aggressive. They'll be happy with this kill. Sentry gets up into the heck of it, and forcing it as well. There's your dust. Yeah, he will be quite aggressive. Maybe let's put a turn around, but the Manta's done on Envy. Turns out the Sunstrike on point. Aggressive. He's going to get himself up. Just manages to get himself back up to the high ground. He will live. I'm not quite sure how he got away there, but he managed it, Andy.
That was actually a really good play and then a misplay at the same time. Like, Pi sees a smoke break, he drops his sentry, it was a little bit slow, and he throws out a Hex and then misses the stun. So he hexed him, missed the stun, and then they run away from they run away from Aggressive thinking that they're not going to be able to kill him because of BKB, but Sunstrike goes through BKB. So one Anchor Smash or one auto attack or anything would have killed him. But they just didn't think they had the damage, so they just walked away. That was, pretty lucky.
He's going to be pretty happy with
Yeah, he's going to be pleased with that.
Oh my gosh. Game continues to be close as ever.
Oh yeah, and I'm pretty sure, maybe he didn't have mana actually, maybe Pi didn't have mana for Finger, but his Finger's still up, which means that they definitely could have killed him. And that kill would have been huge. That opens up racks. Like, there's tier 3 towers that you can actually hit there. Maybe even force a buyback.
I was going to be smoking for CDC, but the ward was there. A little bit that CDC are on their way up.
Yeah, this is be really good for Secret. I can see it. They're going to do the same thing.
Let's try and break it with the Ghost Walk.
Yeah. Okay, there it is.
Oh, we have it. We know
And
you're
then
there,
they're like,
boys.
well,
we know you're there.
we've been bamboozled.
That's a little bit off the point here because don't play it smart. Doesn't go straight into the middle of them all. Puppy, he wants to use that black old Weehaw. He's going to head up. And they get the catch out there. Instead of Misery walking in, Rabbit on to 3. First Sonic coming out. Cheeky. There's your first kill. The Static Sonic then getting thrown out. Looks out for the top of the second. What's happening now? He gets himself out. Puppy with the black gold. On to the He's got the big heavy. Stopping some of the damage from Opium. Some other sources. Now the Chrono from XC. Goes back to Jetpack. Dresser says, I've got the guy. No, you haven't. You need to step out of there, son. Goes off to XC. Goes back to base. Now comes the horn. XC time always back up to triple kill. But we hard. He picks off guard on the nice talk on the sidelines. Aggressive will keep himself alive, but 3 dead.
Dyer's
Going to cause a buyback here on the arena. And they need to try and defend this one. Secret ready to try and break the high ground. Still CDC tried to do this on the bottom lane earlier. Let's see if Secret have a bit more success here in the mid lane. Now disrupt the backup in 5 seconds, but he doesn't have the ultimate. Going to be a hard defense for them. Of course, Predator and fall down off their last fight. Secret might just get the space to go for this. Is he jumping and getting the time dilation onto them all? But number 3 is Secret's just so tanky with his push. But they should be able to finish off themselves a set of ranks here in the middle. In fact, they might even try and find some more action. Misery blinks in. Getting the space there for him to finish that off. And managed to find themselves a set of ranks there. And they...
I was going to say, luckily you can see there. He just stopped. Yeah, but that was a really, really good Ravage for Misery. Like, the timing with the Tornado lift was perfect. Because it was 4 points in the cross with Agony as well. So he had to time that absolutely flawless, hit the Ravage in the fashion that he did. And also realizing that going for Shiki was the best target. You know, just going for the core right away, blowing him up, resulting in pretty much going for the 2 set of racks that we just saw drop there. So very nicely done from Secret. It seemed a little bit hit or miss for a while. And again, this game boiled down to who's had the better initiation thus far. But we also have to not discredit the ward that saw the smoke in the first place.
Absolutely.
That was
And
key.
just as it was expiring as well.
Yeah.
Very close. I think we're going to mention Weehaw. It's not really any news, but this man's pretty good on the Invoker. He is
Not bad.
Absolute gang.
Not bad.
Absolute gang. Top of the net worth, 18,500 here on the man. And, I mean, as you said, Mystery following up, but he's got his Weehaw with the setups each and every time, allowing Mystery to blink himself into position, getting his most fancy. Just, yeah, casual Sunstrike there. He's on top of it.
That's the ICU.
That's the 8K Sunstrike.
Yeah. But this is a really rough situation now for CDEC. The Spectre is kind of getting out of hand. We haven't really talked much about Envy, but he's always been contributing to the fights, you know. He's been carrying dust. He's always there when he needs to be. And then when he's just off doing his own thing, farming, the rest of his team is pressured the way that they can't realistically go for him ever. Because every single time he's showing himself on the map somewhere else, you have like Puppy and Misery and everyone else just pushing down a lane and, you know, hitting towers and making CDEC respond to them. And if you don't come back and you only kill one, then, you know, Envy at this stage in the game is probably going to start sitting for buyback so he can just buy back taunt. They want to go for high ground because that's realistically one of the best ways to break base Spectre is just to have 2 lives, only use your taunt when you buy back for the second. So you basically have an Apex, they just stop playing.
Now, what do you think about the Phoenix, obviously, with his items? Decided to go for the defusal this game aggressive.
Diffusel's actually, I think, a bit of an underrated item. Mainly because it doesn't have a cooldown. It makes it very easy to dispel things like Hex, for example. If they want to go for Shiki, you can just dispel it. And then if you want to try to chase somebody down, since he doesn't really have a tremendous amount of lockdown outside of just like blowing somebody up in a spear, it's nice to have for chase. And the other thing too is you can just dispel dust.
Oh, this could be a big day for Horn. There's the Finger. They know they're grouped up. They back to themselves away. And he gets the chance to do the Finger. Gets thrown down on Scott. And nice goal to get the first to pop. You as well. 2 kills there for the side of Secret. They didn't even need the Ravage. They didn't need the Black Hole. Just the Horn to lead in and jumping in with the diffuser blade slows coming out from the Spectre. Envy with the control. Now they're just going to go for a second main attack there. They're going to go for the tier 3 CDC with 2 heroes down. neither with flying back available. Secret on. Party sending I still got away. BKB coming out, going to try and turn and fight there with the damage from the Deso. MD is going to go straight back in. Actually, getting further on the property. Rex is still hanging around. There'll be the Earthquake on the sideline. Tyler goes controlling the point. In the credit, there's Rabbit. Constantly misery. Double kill for MD. We are blinking up the high ground. Still find themselves a third. Triple kill for MD on the second. 3 heroes dead on CDC for roughly 50 seconds. No buyback. This EG and Secret did it. After what looked like an abysmal game 1, game 2 they stepped it up, and game 3 they stepped it like CDC did as well. What a series to start off.
It was a very close game. I honestly say this game could have gone either way. A lot of it just comes down to, again, just initiation.
Alright, indeed. There we have it. Secret 2-1 against CDC, and back to the panel.
Back to the panel. Team Secret clutch out the victory in a 2-1 series. That is both, all you guys, said Secret, right? Both couches after the draft.
Me and Winter from the get-go.
We believe.